Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to the video. Today I kind of have a different type of video for you guys. I was looking back at some old footage that I had from this past training cycle, and I was really trying to compare some of the old footage versus some of the new footage that I've gotten and compare my start technique and try to look at some things that I can do to get better. And I'm also going to try to compare to some people who I think have a good start technique that I think I can mimic, that I think will really improve my sprint starts. So that is what I'm about to get into. For those of you who are new, my name's Austin. I teach people how to get faster, jump higher, and am an athlete myself. I have some vlogs where I showcase my training and all that fun stuff. So diving right into it, the first video I want to show you is this video from back in March. No, this is back in March. So this is a long time ago, and I was doing some starts with my brother to help him with a video he was doing. He wanted to basically teach me how to do a start or walk me through a start. And at the time, I actually thought that this was a pretty good start. So let me just play it for you. Boom. All right. So you saw that. Now I do the crawl forward, the heel toe setup. I don't do like the track start setup. And I think that this is good. And I think it's good because first off, it gets my body and it right away starts my momentum out in front of the line where I want it to be. I want to be almost like, I mean, people say you want to almost be running like you're falling forward and your feet are basically catching you as you're falling. And one mistake that I see a lot of is people have their weight shifted too far back in the setup. And I think that if you have it shifted a little bit farther forward, I think you'll be able to get off the line a little bit quicker, and it just makes for a better start, more powerful start. So I crawl back and I tuck my hand right behind my pocket, and my right hand is on the ground almost like a kickstand. And in this position, I kind of think I'm doing a pretty good job of creating some pretty good shin angles. My angles look like they're about to be driving horizontally, which is good. Now, one thing I see is a lot of people switch up where this back leg is, and you'll see later when I show Odell Beckham, his back leg is a little bit straighter, it's a little bit longer, and honestly, I think this kind of comes down to preference. And I've done this both ways, but the one thing I kind of get out of this is that when you have the back leg extended like that, a little bit farther back, it almost puts more of an emphasis. And I feel like my weight, when I do that, my weight is more on my left foot or the foot that is closer to the line. And in my opinion, this for the most part is the foot that is going to be doing the most driving. And I think that you're kind of missing out on a little bit of what you could be getting from that other leg in terms of a push off the line when you start to drive that leg forward. I think when your feet are a little bit closer together like they are now, I think that you can probably push. It's almost like you're kind of jumping off the line. And I think this is a matter of preference. I think it comes down to what you're comfortable with, but this is what I'm going with for now. So the first thing that happens, in my opinion, this is the worst start that I've done. And as you can see, my hand goes backward actually as I start. And as I drive off the start, I literally get zero drive off of my first step. And this is because what happens is I extend a little bit too far and that foot kind of just falls flat on the ground. And that right there is actually creating a braking force. So we'll see. I'll show you the next clip. And this one is from week 1. So here I'm basically in the same setup that I was in before. But when I drive through, the front foot, it doesn't land straight down. It kind of comes back toward me. So what you're trying to do here is you're trying to kind of punch down your foot or drive that foot through the ground while maintaining that positive shin angle and that forward body lean. And what this is going to do is that's going to just really just drive you off the line and create a lot of power to accelerate. So I do a better job of that in week 1, obviously when I'm starting to focus on that and focus on my start technique. Then this is in week 9, you can see how dramatic of a difference that I've made. And I think that this one was so much more efficient. Now my pocket hand still kind of flies up, and I have actually corrected that more recently, but I think that this drive is by far the best one I've done. But as far as the drive goes, I get off the line and I'm creating really good triple extension. You can see the back leg is completely extended. Now, I think that I could be leaned a little bit far forward here. I think I could create a little bit better of an angle. And this is also something that's going to take more practice, obviously. And my right arm now is extended straight behind me. And this isn't terrible. However, I kind of want to minimize a little bit of the upper body backside mechanics. I think if I do that, I think it'll result in more of a cleaner overall technique for me. The best part is that front foot, as soon as I create that triple extension, is already coming back toward me, and I land with my toe on the ground, and that back foot is already driving up, ready to punch my knee through and drive to create power. And this is probably the most progress that I've made in the start technique, is just that there alone. And that alone, it just dramatically improved my 40. So that's something that you can do, and it's something that you can easily practice. If you have access to a sled, you can do that drill where you're really just kind of pumping your knees and just drive through for a few reps, and you can kind of feel it. I was actually trying to coach somebody do this, and we didn't have access to like a prowler or anything, and I was just having him just stand and kind of like in a staggered stance and just take the back leg and just punch it forward and almost jump off of the front leg and just drive or punch that foot straight into the ground. Whatever cue works best for you, you want to just feel the ball of your foot hitting, and just like almost like you're trying to like really push through the ground but move it horizontally, if that makes sense. So then next up, I have an athlete that I think, first off, he's one of my favorite athletes of all time already, Odell Beckham Jr. He is very fast, he's very explosive, and he is a very good runner, and I think he's very similar to me because I'm basically the same height as him, but I really enjoy watching him run because I think he has really good form. He is a former track athlete in high school. I know he ran track. I think his mom maybe was an Olympian in track, but either way, he has very good form and very good technique. He's a genetic freak. Obviously, he's super fast. So let's watch him go really quick.
Yep, and that's fine with both those kind of guys. This Beckham kid is really a good football player. Yeah, he's got
4-3-1, Mike.
So to speak on Odell's start technique, he is longer. He has that back leg extended a little bit more, which pops his angles a little bit up. So you see his shins are a little bit more vertical, and what this does is it kind of forces him to come up a little bit, but he does a really good job of driving out and maintaining that angle. So he drives out and really pushes into the ground, like I said. And what I really like about Odell is his arm swing is big, but it's not excessive. Like mine is excessive, and I need to cut down on that. His arms are nice and tight to his body, and he drives his elbows really well, and I think that this really helps him drive his knees forward. That's something that I think he does really well, and overall, he just has really clean technique. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare him to John Ross, who also is the same height as me. It might be a little bit shorter. So comparing Odell to John Ross, I really want to do this comparison because John Ross is an inch shorter. However, John Ross ran 4.22. He has the all-time record for the 40 at the combine. Odell ran, his best time was a 4.31. They're basically very similar athletes when it comes to build, I think. John Ross is an inch shorter and 10 pounds lighter. So they're very similar. I kind of want to just point out what I think makes the difference in their speed. John Ross is 4.22 all-time record, and Odell is 4.31. 4.31 is nothing to scoff at. Obviously, that is unbelievable, and that's what we're striving for here, is in that type of elite category. But this is kind of what separates, in my opinion, Odell, like a 4.31, to the best 40 of all time. So let's just play it through side by side.
There he goes.
He's moving.
Where'd our number go?
John Ross is a little bit more like me in the setup. He has more of a parallel shin angle to the ground, and he's got his feet a little bit closer together, whereas Odell has that back leg extended more. He's a little bit longer through that back leg. So taking them to hand release, and John Ross really pulls his hand away and immediately is just jumping straight out, and I think that he does a really good job of getting straight off of the line, and you can see Odell comes up a little bit, and his angle isn't as good as parallel as John's. And John does a really good job throughout this whole 40 to maintain a really forward lean. And I don't know if I think that's also like a neither here nor there thing, because there's a lot of Olympians, I know Usain Bolt is very upright in his top speed phase, but John Ross here is very fast and he's leaning forward, it seems like, throughout the whole race. But anyways, both do a good job creating good triple extension and driving. Like I said, just punching that front foot into the ground and just really trying to create power through that first stride. But like, as you can see here, Odell I would say he's at like a 45 and John Ross is at like a 30-degree angle. And I think that makes such a huge difference in the start. I think John Ross is just at such an advantage because he's able to maintain that lean in the drive phase versus Odell, who's kind of coming up a little bit too early. And I think that is one thing that is just a major factor in him just running a faster 40. So those are two key things that I really want to work on: cleaning up my arm swing for the start and improving my forward body lean, not coming up or not popping up too early, and really shooting straight forward as much as I can off of the release. And the last clip I want to show you actually is of Usain Bolt, and I think that this is one thing that I think I really need to work on. After I saw this clip, I was like, this is an insane thing that I'm not even focusing on in my prep and my mobility warm up, and that is the amount of internal rotation that Usain Bolt uses when he's driving his front leg. So let me play this really quick. We take this kind of step by step here. Usain comes off the line and he drives his knee forward, but you can see from the front that his heel comes around his body. Like, it's not straight under him. And what's happening here is his hip is internally rotating as he drives his knee forward. And what this allows him to do is kind of land on the inside of that front foot. And what he's doing is almost like how a speed skater would start. And obviously, you know that they can't just like put one foot in front of the next directly in line, because you're just going to slide right out. Like, you're not going to be able to push and drive off of the skate. And what this is doing is it's allowing Usain to drive a little bit more effectively. And it's also going to improve his stride length, because as you know, when you drive through and create triple extension, your foot, the first thing it has to do is internally rotate. Now for me, for years of powerlifting, I'm horribly externally rotated, and internal rotation in flexion and in extension I'm missing, because I also work a desk job and I sit all day, so I'm in external rotation in flexion mostly, and I don't normally get into internal rotation. So if I can work on internal rotation and flexion and extension, I'll be able to improve my stride length, and over time with added power, this should really take down my 40 time and improve my speed. So those are a couple things that I'm going to do going forward, and I know that you can do going forward to improve your start technique. And as you know, the start is probably the most crucial part to any short race because it's the slowest part of the race. So if you could minimize the amount of time that you're taking to get to top speed or otherwise spending in the slowest portion of the race, you're going to maximize the amount of speed that you have and the minimized amount of time it takes you to run the race. So that's it. That's all I want to talk about. If you like videos like this, please drop down in the comments below if you want me to do a specific type of analysis or something like this in the future. I actually had a really good time just taking a look at all of these athletes and their different techniques and kind of picking out which ones that I think will help me going forward. So if you like this video, please give it a like and be sure to drop a comment if you have any questions. That's all I got for you. Thank you for watching. As always, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.